Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Master League Premier Cup. This cup is going to be back now, not allowing you to run any legendary Pokemon, mythical Pokemon or Ultra Beast. And so we're going to have, a meta of Pokemon that you can quite easily get by just playing the game without having to invest any money, which is really cool. This meta itself changed a ton actually over this season with a lot of changes towards some Pokemon of this meta here, but also generally some new moves being added. And so let's take a look at the meta. But before that, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. It is free, it helps me out a ton, I would really appreciate it. But let's move on into the meta and then into 10 teams for this cup. Taking a look now at the meta here, we're going to see, of course, Pokemon like Florges at the top. Florges is a Pokemon that recently got access to the move Chilling Water, which makes it so much better for a meta like this. As well as also Metagross, which recently only got access to the fast move of Shadow Claw, making it way better for this meta because it's going to be a way more, balanced and has way more play just generally against most of the Pokemon, because there's not really a lot of Pokemon that can resist the fast move of Shadow Claw in this meta, allowing you to generate energy quite fast, allowing you to get to your moves quite fast, and making Metagross a great safe stop, lead, and closer. While we're going to have otherwise here Pokemon like the Goodra and the Dragonite, some Dragon-type Pokemon of course still in this meta. Those Pokemon are going to be a bit more tougher to use as a safe stop, while they have great coverage with the dominance of Florges and Togekiss. It's a bit more difficult to run those two, especially though Florges is going to be those that can shut down those Dragon-type Pokemon as safe stop. So we don't really have those here today. We have Gyarados still available. Gyarados is going to be a good Pokemon to run as a safe stop as well. We have a lot of cool Pokemon though here. Golden Go is very good against those Charmers. We have the Primarina here as a Charmer as well. Rhyperior dropped a little bit with Breaking Swipe getting nerfed. I don't even think that Breaking Swipe is really the best moveset here. I guess you should, I don't know, maybe consider superpower for something like the Metagross would make some sense there as well. Glucifer is kind of cool, but afterwards we're gonna see here a little bit of a drop. We see Pokemon though that are a little bit higher up like Venusaur, that are very specific for the meta in order to counter those fairy types, and we actually see Dondoza at number 25, but afterwards it kind of drops down quite fast here. Not really a lot of Pokemon having a lot of play down there, other than Magdazone. We're going to talk about this now, but yeah, let's move on into the top teams. So we can now take a look at team number 1. We're going to have here a team around Florges, the Metagross with Shadow Claw, as well as the Magnezone. And this is going to be kind of what you can expect to face here. Metagross with that move Shadow Claw is going to be ridiculously strong. I definitely want to kind of showcase this Pokemon for sure on this channel. And I think that's going to be basically the best team that you can run for this channel. You're going to have coverage for the Florges, which is the main Pokemon that you kind of want to counter. The only real weakness here is going to be Rhyperior, which I guess would generally, in my opinion, not want to run Breaking Swipe anyway. Even in this meta, I would rather go ahead and go for the superpower there. But this can be a bit of a problem for this team. But then again, you have Chilling Water in the lead. Like, Chilling Water in the lead is going to already allow you to do a lot of damage with your Florges there against something like Rhyperior, so it's not actually a weakness. You're going to have some Media Mesh on your safe stop. Your Magdazone can't really do anything, but we don't talk about you, Magdazone. Or do we want to talk about Magdazone? Magdazone is here to counter the Gyarados. It's going to be here to counter a lot of the other Pokemon. If you're actually going to take a look here real quick, unless it's a ground-type Pokemon, or I guess Annihilate here, even the Magdazone and Metagross have together actually a very good combination there of, just working all together, because they going to counter each other's weaknesses still a little bit as well. Like, one is better against Dragonite, one is worse against Dragonite. One is better against Torterra. Torterra, an interesting Pokemon, by the way. I wonder if people are going to bring this. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting team here already. I think it's one of the best teams, if not the best team of this meta. And we can move on to team number 2. Where again, we're going to see a Metagross. Metagross is great in any kind of position. Same goes for kind of Florges here. Those two are going to be the main Pokemon of this meta. But a Pokemon that's, in my opinion, kind of back as well is Excadrill. Excadrill wasn't really great for ages, but now the meta kind of shifted towards where this Pokemon has some potential again. It got a buff with the Rock Slide again, which is kind of cool, but it is generally very good with energy up in this meta. You have Golden Go as a target. You have Primarina, where you can resist the fast move. You have a Rock Slide for Gyarados. You have just resistance for the fast move for Goodra. You have Rock Slide for Togekiss. You have the Mud Slap and Joy Run for the Metagross. You're going to have so much play with the Excadrill right now, even especially with the Shadow Excadrill in this meta, to the point where I think this is going to be one of the coolest ground-type Pokemon. I liked it more than Rhyperior on paper at least, because also the Steel typing, it's going to be better against Metagross. But yeah, generally, I think it's a very, very good team here as well. The main idea here, by the way, behind this team is you have the lead that is going to be just good generally against nearly everything. You can't just basically stay in unless it's a ground type Pokemon. You can, I guess, even against a ground type Pokemon, I would stay in with this Pokemon here. I would just play it out. You want to play out the lead with this team. You're going to have then a core of Gyarados and Excadrill in the back. Excadrill, the best answer to Pokemon that are part electric, like especially the Magnezone, which is mainly the only electric type Pokemon that you're going to really see here. And then, of course, Gyarados basically being good against everything else. And this is kind of what I wanted to build here, a team that you can play out the lead and then just try to line your backline with it. And this is really, really nice here. It's a really good team to run. Definitely give it a try. A little bit more toxic, we're going to have here a double fairy line. I want to make a team around Togekiss, the Primarina backline, because, yeah, Excadrill is very good for the lead. Apparently, Rapira can be a bit of an issue for this team. I don't really think so, because you have Hydro Cannon, you have Aura Sphere, and then you have Mud-Step Driven on your Pokemon. So, like, you still have coverage. It looks on paper being the only Pokemon that really can completely counter you, but I don't think there's really a Pokemon that can fully counter this team. Here, yeah, this is just going to be generally a very solid team. Togekiss is here to counter out basically those Steel-type Pokemon that your lead would like to see, but if it doesn't see it in the lead, then you're going to be able to counter it out. And then you're going to have Primarina to close up battles, which I do think is going to be quite strong in the current metagame. You can run Florges in any position here as well, by the way, on nearly every single team. I did not include Florges on all the teams because I could just literally put it in every kind of position. This Pokemon is very, very overpowered. But yeah, this is going to be for team number 3, just generally. You're going to see less Florges here in this video, not because Florges isn't good or it isn't working out. Generally, you can put Florges basically in every position. This Pokemon is very, very safe in this meta. Yeah, just generally as a service information here. Next up, a little bit more of a spicier one. We're going to have Shadow Annihilate. I do think you need the Shadow version of this Pokemon, because otherwise your counter damage is just not adding up enough. You can, of course, try out the non-Shadow version as well, don't get me wrong, but it's more of an interesting Pokemon to counter the anti-meta. It's an anti-meta Pokemon. To counter those ground-type Pokemon here mainly, that are mainly part weak to fighting, like the Ursaluna, like the Rhyperior, like the Excadrill. All of those Pokemon you can counter quite well with the Annihilate, and then we're going to have a Pokemon that doesn't want to face those Pokemon with Metagross, which is generally our Seizup, and then the Scizor on the back. Backline again, very good against Fairy-type Pokemon, which you have to have with a lead that's going to be weak against Fairy-type Pokemon. Weakness here, especially Scaledirge. I don't think that people are going to run Scaledirge too often, but it is a good Pokemon here in order to counter this specific team. I could still see that people are going to try to run Scaledirge in order to counter Pokemon, even like the Metagross or the Floor. I guess that's the thing as well. Like a lot of Pokemon in the current meta that you would have usually as targets for the Scaledirge have good coverage against it, which makes it a bit more awkward. Next team, team number 5, we're going to have the Scizor, we have the Seizup of Gyarados and the Goodra in the back. As I said earlier in the meta review, I wouldn't go for a Dragon-type Seizup in this meta or Florges. Here, we're going to have like something that's kind of more of a mitigating this problem. We're going to have the Gyarados, which is alright against it. You still have Awkward Tail, which is going to be stab and nice and neutral. Your Farson will still resist it. It's still not a pretty matchup whatsoever, but you have your counter to Fairy types in the lead, and you have your Goodra that you kind of want to just set up here. Goodra has great coverage in the current meta. The issue is you just need to get it into the right position, and I think this is the best team in order to do that. Yeah, there are other alternative options as well and stuff. The Scizor in the lead, you can go for Metagross, you can go for, you want an anti-Fairy type Pokemon, a strong anti-Fairy type Pokemon, you can go for Magnezone, would work out as well, just giving you just some general options here. Team number 6, I wanted to, by the way, here, this meta is quite small. This meta is very, very small. I always kind of want to try to at least focus on one new Pokemon each team here, by the way, as well. So I want to make a team around the Venusaur. This team is designed in order to counter the Fairy-type Pokemon. You can use Dragonite in the lead here, by the way, as well, instead of the Gyarados. I like Gyarados a little bit more because of the timing and the typing itself is just better against Fire-type Pokemon generally. Dragonites can still deal with it. Salamence could even work here in the lead, if you want to try that Pokemon out. Anyway, we're going to have with Venusaur the best answer to Florges and Primarina. Both of them cannot hit Venusaur at all, and Venusaur can hit them for super effective damage, which is kind of cool. Togekiss can be a bit more tricky because of the coverage it has. It's usually not the best matchup for Venusaur, but we would have, of course, Metagross here still as well for this option there. And so again, this team is going to be kind of cool. The reason actually mainly why we have Gyarados in the lead over Dragonite is because it has a better matchup against other Metagross. You want to have an answer for Metagross, as Venusaur cannot hit this Pokemon. So this is the reason why we have the Gyarados here in the lead instead of the Dragonite. Speaking of Dragonite though, we're going to have a team around Dragonite here as well. The Dragonite Magnezone core has been great in this cup for ages, and it's going to be back here again. With the buff on Magnezone as well, on Volt Switch doing more damage now, it's going to be even better in the current meta of Fairy type Pokemon, as you're going to see as well. And as you're going to encounter like a ground type Pokemon, you're going to be so good with the Magnezone. Magnezone is going to be a top tier Pokemon for this meta, and I find it kind of sad because I had so many different kind of videos I could make around this Pokemon here. But yeah, this is going to be very good for this upcoming meta again. A Pokemon that you definitely want to have. There's not really a weakness for this team, just because Magnezone Dragonite core is perfect. Like, that's the thing. That is a perfect core to run. Electrovire here is more for fun, as I say so. Use anything there. You can use Florges, you can use Metagross. All of those can work out as well. And that's kind of, I guess, for the people that actually listen to the video, giving you some alternative options here as well, extra towards it. Yeah. Metagross especially would most day work out even better. Electrovire is just here for the fun. And for Jamie-Finn, yeah, Jamie-Finn, who is always liking to run this Pokemon with his Shadow Army, of course. So let's take a look here now at team number 8. Where we will have the Ice Table. Ice Table recently got to #1 spot in the Open Great League. Now we can see on how good this Pokemon is going to be in the Master League Premier Cup. There's going to be an interesting one here, as you're going to have the fighting weakness, which you don't really have to worry about in this meta. There are not really a lot of counter users other than the Shadow Annihilate, which nobody's really running there. And you're going to have here with this Pokemon a very, very neutral one that can deal with Togekiss, Goodra, with the Florges. I like this Pokemon especially in the lead because you have a lot of fast move pressure. You're going to be able to align yourself afterwards. You cannot hit Steel-type Pokemon, and this is why we have Gyarados as our neutral Pokemon, as I say so, but they can still deal with all the Steel-type Pokemon resisting Steel. But also having mainly super effective coverage here with Aqua Tail and Crunch. You're going to be able to hit Metagross, you're going to be able to hit the Golden Go, you're going to be able to hit the Excadrill. All of those, I guess Steel types is going to be already there anyway, like Steel and Ground type Pokemon for the lead. But yeah, this is the main idea behind it. And then we have Excadrill in the back, and now to counter Pokemon like Magnezone, we need this. Like if you find a Magnezone in the lead with this team, just play it out. Pretend that you have an Earthquake or something like this. But generally, you need to have kind of Excadrill in the back. There's no other option here. But Excadrill is back, which is kind of cool. I like to see this Pokemon. It's actually one of my favorite Pokemon for the Master League. I like the idea and like the moveset of this Pokemon. So yeah, let's move on to team number 9. Team number 9, we're going to have Hydreigon, we're going to have the Metagross and the Golden Go. This is going to be more of a classic line. It's kind of more similar to what I had before earlier on as well with the Dragonite Magnezone line. It's very similar here, just in a different kind of core, with again a Dragon and a Steel type. But Hydreigon and Golden Go actually work out super well together. Golden Go doesn't want to face Ghost type Pokemon. Hydreigon eats those up with a Brutal Swing. Hydreigon doesn't want to face any Fairy type Pokemon, and that's why you have 2 Steel type Pokemon in the back to really counter them. Apparently the weakness is here again Rhyperior. I don't think that Rhyperior is going to be too common here. Lostheart as well is going to be an awkward Pokemon for this team, absolutely, but I don't think it's actually going to be that strong against it. Like Shadow Claw version can be kind of cool against us, but even here Hydreigon is going to be able to outspeed it. If it's Fury Cutter, you take neutral damage along the way with your backline. It's not too bad, even resisted damage here against the Golden Go. So I don't think that's really the biggest issue. I guess Rhyperior is the worst Pokemon to face here, but this is a cool team around Hydreigon. And we move on with the final team here, which is a little bit more spicy as well. Actually, Shadow Snorlax had a lot of play back in the day. This Pokemon was actually one of the best and main Pokemon of this meta, even in the Open Master League had some play. And now I think it's a little bit back, because Shadow Lick actually makes a lot of sense in this meta. You might think, oh, this is looking only neutral. It's supposed to be neutral. This Pokemon has a lot of great matchups in the 2-shield scenario, and this Pokemon especially has a better matchup now against Metagross. Metagross does double resisted fast move damage and takes super effective damage from the fast move. Boysam recently got buffed, makes it a very, very nice neutral Pokemon against the current meta, and Super Power gives it great coverage as well as like the option to do for a lot of damage here in the lead and then swap out afterwards. And this is why I think that actually Snorlax is one of the best Pokemon in this meta. The idea is here, again, behind this team, to align your backline. So you kind of want to stay in, you kind of want to win the lead matchup, and then try to have your Salamence. You can of course use Dragonite or whatever in the back there as well, and the Golden Go together to align against the backline and try to beat them like this. And this team I think is fantastic. I think that the Snorlax is super underrated, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's going to help you. Hopefully you're going to have some nice time to climb. We don't know at the current time of recording what Pokemon are banned for the Great League Remix Cup, but we will see that as well most likely soon-ish, and I can make a video on this channel, so stay tuned and I will see you then. Bye bye.